It was actor Errol Flynn that said, "My problem lies in reconciling my gross habits with my net income." In this lesson, we're going to reconcile a checking account with a bank statement by hand and by using a spreadsheet. All to answer the question, how do checking account users make sure that their records are correct? Before we jump into this, we're going to make sure we're ready for this lesson by looking at warm-up number 2, where we're going to solve an equation for price, P. The formula for finding the sale price, S, on an item costing P dollars is D% discount, is X is equal to the parenthesis 1 minus D divided by 100, close parenthesis. This is a very nice situation because effectively we have A is equal to B times C. We're solving for B, which means A divided by C, or simply S divided by 1 minus D divided by 100 is going to be equal to S. Now, let's take a look at a problem that you will be able to do by the end of this lesson. Now, Marina and Brian have a joint checking account. They have a balance of $3,839.25 in the check register. The balance on the bank statement says $3,450.10. Not reported on the statements are deposits of $2,000, $135.67, $254.77, and $188.76, and 4 checks for $567.89, $23.83, $598.33, and $1,000. Reconcile the bank statement using a spreadsheet. The very first thing we're going to want to do is to fill in all of the appropriate values into the appropriate columns, whether they are debits or credits. Then we want to sum up each of those 2 columns. Now, the revised statement is going to go ahead and be able to do some of the calculations, and you can see the calculation that's being done up in the command bar. A customer keeps a record of all transactions concerning a checking account in a paper or electronic check register. The bank also keeps a record of all transactions. Every month, the bank makes available a statement listing all of the transactions and balances for the account. The bank statement contains important information related to the account. The account number appears on all checks and deposit slips, as well as on the paper and electronic bank statement. A bank statement includes all transactions that have occurred for a period of approximately 1 month. The statement period indicates the data in which the transaction occurs. The starting balance is the amount of money in the checking account at the beginning of the statement period. The ending balance is the amount of money in a checking account at the end of the statement period. The deposit section shows the money that was put into the account during the statement period. Deposits that do not appear on the statement are outstanding deposits. Checks that do not appear on the statement are outstanding checks. Whether using paper or electronic statements, you should compare the bank record with your own to make sure no mistakes have been made. This process is called balancing a checkbook or reconciling a bank statement. Paper bank statements include a checking account summary, which guides the user through the reconcile process. Check registers contain a column to place a check mark for cleared items to assist in balancing. Online and cell phone app checking registers are also available. Michael's bank statement for his checking account is shown here, and his check register is also shown. What steps are needed to reconcile Michael's bank account? We want to compare the entries in Michael's checking account with the bank statement. The entries marked with a check mark appeared on the previous month's statement. Enter a check mark in the check register for each deposit and check listed on the monthly statement. Some of the entries in the check register are not on the bank statement. List any outstanding checks or other withdrawals to find the total. Then list any outstanding deposits and find the total. So we can see here we have a deposit of $35, and we can find this deposit of $35 with the same date. There is a deposit of $100, which also appears here. There's a deposit of $100, which also appears here. Same date again. Check number 1770 was for $158.08. When we find that on our check register, we go ahead and put a check mark next to it. Check 1768, and then we check the corresponding thing in our check register. We also have check 1769, and check 1769, check 1765, and check 1765. You'll notice that there's a withdrawal of $50, a check that is out there, another for $18, another for $29.29 and 10 cents, and another one for $15. So the ending balance, when we add all of these up, we get $125, which will be more than what is actually showing in the actual ending balance. We need to make sure that we're seeing $641.13 in our check register, which we see is what corresponds right here. Let's check your understanding and name some reasons why a check may not have cleared during the monthly cycle and appeared in the bank statement. So just as an example, many people in business hold on to a check and do not deposit or cash it immediately. If checks are written toward the end of an account cycle, they will probably appear in the next month's statement. Now let's reconcile a checking account with a bank statement by hand and by using a spreadsheet. Let's use an algebraic formula and statement to model a check register balancing process. We can let A equal the end balance, B equal the deposit outstanding, C equal withdrawals outstanding, D equal a revised statement balance, and R equal the register balance. Now, the revised statement balance is going to be our A plus B minus C. And if R is equal to D, then the statement is reconciled. Let's check your understanding of this. Nancy has a balance of $1,078 in her checking account. The balance on her bank account statement is $885.84. Not reported on her bank statement are deposits of $575 and $250, and two checks for $195 and $437.84. Does her checking account balance? Now, we know that we need to have 1,078. This is what is in her check register. We know that the statement says there's $885.84 in it. She has checks coming in that are not cleared of $575 and $250, but she has written a check for $195 as well as $437.84. And by summing this all up, we get $1,078, which equals what was in her check register, so her statement is reconciled. Now, Marina and Brian have a joint checking account. They have a balance of $3,839.25 in the check register. The balance on the bank statement says $3,450.10. Not reported on the statements are deposits of $2,000, $135.67, $254.77, and $188.76, and four checks for $567.89, $23.83, $598.33, and $1,000. Reconcile the bank statement using a spreadsheet. The very first thing we're going to want to do is to fill in all of the appropriate values into the appropriate columns, whether they are debits or credits. Then we want to sum up each of those two columns. Now, the revised statement is going to go ahead and be able to do some of the calculations, and you can see the calculation that's being done up in the command bar. Let's check your understanding and write a formula to calculate the sum of outstanding checks. If we're doing this in a spreadsheet like this problem had, all we're going to do is say equals sum in all capital letters, open parenthesis, the B3 colon B9, and close that parenthesis, hit equals, and we're done. In B10, the highlighted box underneath the outstanding checks, we put equals sum, open parenthesis, B3 colon B9, close parenthesis, and hit equals.